am Sue Webley. Welcome to another episode of Inspire. Listen, I'm here talking to y'all and I'm muted this morning. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Inspire. I am so glad that you are joining us today. As you see, my background is different because I'm not home. I got my traveling shoes on, y'all. Listen, I'm out of breath because I had to run and get some water. I'll be coffee in my cup this morning, but I got some water. So, and I'm still getting myself together. But thank you for joining me. I see all of you coming in on Facebook and on YouTube and on Instagram. Let me look at my Instagram people. Hey, Wawa Institute, thank you for joining us. Do me a favor and share out this broadcast today because I'm so excited to have a wonderful person with me, Jay Coleman, who is the founder of Sincerely, an Introvert. And if you know me well enough, you know I'm an introvert. Some people don't believe that, but I am. And so, we're kindred spirits today. So I'm excited about the conversation that we're getting ready to have. And if you've just joined us, if you don't know who I am, what this is all about, I am Sue A. Webley. I am your host. I'm an author, producer, and award-winning minister and entrepreneur. And I believe in the power of words, wisdom, and witness. And that is exactly what Inspire is all about. So every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, we hold space for honest, soulful, and often transformative conversations from guests from all walks of life. If you've been here long enough, you know I have everybody on this show, right? Entrepreneurs, artists, thought leaders, organizers, and everyday people who are living boldly and authentically. And so together we explore topics that matter, right? From mental health and identity to faith, to business and justice and creativity and healing. And so whether we're spotlighting community leaders or celebrating personal triumphs, Inspire is rooted in the power of story and the belief that when we speak our truth, we light the way for others. We are live right now, again, on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on Instagram. And so I want to give you the opportunity to connect, follow, like, and subscribe. Do me a favor. It's showing that my Wi-Fi is a little unstable. So if you cannot hear me, please indicate that in the chat. Do me a favor, put that in the chat if you cannot hear me for whatever reason. But I do want to invite you to connect, follow, like, and subscribe. If you've been following me on Cara Solutions LLC, thank you so much. I am building up the Inspire with Sue W platform, and I would like for you to follow me on Facebook and on Instagram at Inspire with Sue W. If you want to follow me personally, I am everywhere as Sue A. Webley. Or if you want to check out our website at www.getinspired.live, there you can see all of our previous episodes, find out a little bit more about the show, and also subscribe to our newsletter because we don't want you to miss anything that's happening with Inspire. So let me see. I see some comments coming in. Oh, thank you so much, Bishop Bonnie. Thank you for joining. Listen, I know when folk from the West Coast join that they love me because it's early. It is early on the West Coast. So thank you always for supporting me, Bishop Bonnie. I appreciate and love you so much. Do me a favor and share this out. Share this out because Hey, Pastor Joyce, listen. Good morning. Elder Tressa, good morning. I see y'all coming in. Do me a favor and share it out, share it out, share it out. And let me know. Well, I'm going to ask you what I ask everybody. You know how we start. What you sipping on this morning? What you got in your cup? Again, I am traveling. I do not have a cup with me, but I do have a bottle of water. And I know some of this is a surprise because I always have coffee in my cup. You ain't never seen me with water on the show, but it's the first time for everything. So let me go ahead and take a sip. If you notice, I hid the label because sponsorship money, okay? I'm not giving you free advertising. Anyway, so let me know what you are sipping on. Is it water? Is it tea? Is it apple juice, orange juice? What is it? If it's something a little stronger than that, I'm not judging you. Let me know what you're sipping on and let me know where you are watching from. We're going to move forward into our show today. So before I bring on our amazing guests, I want to pause and lift up something. Of course, as I try to bring some commentary before we actually speak with our guests. And so this week I read about Connect Cooperative in Atlanta, which is where I happen to be right now. A Black-owned company hub that's raising funds to build a new space just for us, a place for Black residents, creatives, and entrepreneurs to gather, to create, to breathe, in a city where rising rents are pushing so many of us out, right? And so that vision of building space where we can belong, that really resonated with me. And at the same time, a new report reminded us that Black entrepreneurs, so it is National Black Entrepreneur, Black Business Month, Black entrepreneurs, right? So a new report reminded us that Black entrepreneurs across the country are pushing forward even as venture funding shrinks. Right? We're losing money, y'all, but we know how to survive. We know how to make it. We know how to keep pushing. And so those businesses are choosing mission over money, building businesses that reflect their values and creating models that don't always look like what the world expects, but they do work. And that, family, is why today's conversation. Good morning, honey. Thank you. I just got distracted. All right. And that is why today's conversation matters. So, because building a business that reflects who you are authentically, that takes courage, right? That takes courage. And for those of us who are introverts, it takes pushing against a culture that says you have to always be on, that says you have to always be loud, that says you have to always be visible. And so our guest knows that truth firsthand. Jay is the founder of Sincerely. Let me show you his little picture here. Jay is the founder of Sincerely an Introvert, and he has built a brand that celebrates authenticity, challenges stereotypes, and reminds us that introverts are powerful in the ways the world often overlooks. I can't wait to get into this conversation with Jay as we prepare to meet him. Let's take a look at some clips from his social media.
I'm an introvert, which means if you see me out in public, no, you didn't.
I tried. I feel like I'm dying inside.
Hi.
And how are you?
I'm good. And how are you?
Yes.
Some weather we're having, huh?
Oh, and it is nice. And the birds.
And animals. I love animals. Yes.
And the dogs in the sky.
Here are 5 reasons why introverts should talk more.
Jay.
It's always interesting watching my own content.
Welcome to Inspire, Jay.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm so appreciative of your social media, because when I say, even just now watching it, while I was clipping them, I was just, belly ache laughing. And so watching it again just made me chuckle, especially the phone. Because sure enough, I'll be like, and my partner's like, you gonna answer that? Nope.
It's like I tell everybody, phones were not made for calls. They're made for texting.
Yes, text
That's just
me.
that's just
Oh my
how
God.
that's where we are. Like,
Right.
if you call me, you don't love me. So
And don't let me text you and then you call me. You won't get an answer. Right? Don't let
I
now.
don't.
I am notorious. I'm really bad, and so I have family on here that knows I am notorious for not responding. I know, and it's something I'm working on, right? Because you can send me a text, and it might be 2-3 weeks later. In my brain, I've responded to you, but I really, but I really haven't.
That's the thing. Like I have responded in my head. So they and as people say, it's the thought that counts. So you gotta have, give me a little bit of grace. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get back to you.
yeah. And that's something really hard to, before we even get to our conversation, that's hard for folks to understand too. Like I literally do think about you. It doesn't help that I have ADHD, right? But I do, you are in my heart. You are in my mind. I think about you, and sometimes it's the whole object permanence thing, like, okay, out of sight, out of mind. But I do, yeah, I will think about you. I will wonder how you're doing. I will think about how much I love you, but I will not pick up the phone, right? And or and if I text, please don't call me, because you're not yeah. I text you, reach back to me in the manner that I started a communication.
Listen, for the people who like call you a second after you text, like who hurt y'all? Like don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, Truck Hunt, thank you for Sandra. Minister Sandra, thank you for joining us. Yeah, I know Pastor Joy. Pastor Joy is just like, yeah, she know I'll be taking forever to and yes, I'm drinking water, Pastor Joyce. I know it's a new day. It's a Monday. Yep, drinking some water. What do you have in your cup, Jay?
I don't have a cup, but I got me a bottle of some of the East Coast finest water. Like you, I will not disclose the brand, but I'll just say it's that green label. If you know, you know. But I do love me some water.
Now, when I do drink water, it's often alkaline. So this part of water right here is tasting a little bit different, but I'm gonna drink it. I'm gonna sip on it. I'm gonna sip on it. I'm gonna be good today. Chuck, you still talk on the phone? God bless you. Bless you there, brother. You still talk on the phone. Yeah, that's hard for me. So Jay, we now we have our proverbial mugs on the table, right? We've already established what we're sipping on. Let's talk about what fuels you, because the name of our show is Inspire. So we want to talk about what are some of the things that keep you going. Who or what inspires you the most right now?
Right now, I would say my community. I call them the introvert fam on social media and in real life, and they really inspire me to fuel me to keep going, keep making content, keep speaking to the introverted experience. I started my brand about 3.5 years ago, and I had no idea what I was doing, who I was speaking to. I just knew that I wanted to make make something for introverts by introverts, and I didn't want it to be the standard, stereotypical introverts are antisocial. We don't talk to anybody. We don't like anybody, because that's not entirely true.
Yeah.
Like there are elements of that, but we're not all one thing.
Mhm.
And as we see, there are so many thought leaders and business leaders and influential people who happen to be introverted, and
Yeah.
a lot of times you would never know. Um, so I really wanted to make a brand that spoke to that experience, and I've managed to build a little community here, and I love it. I appreciate that they pour into me as much as I pour into them.
Yeah.
Um, because for a while, like, I didn't think that it was it, and then but I see the comments that this is so me, or I can relate to this, and that's what really keeps me going and keeps me fueled, because I know that there's somebody out there that needs to hear that message that, no, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing that has to be fixed or corrected. You're fine where you are.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. And so, of course, you brought up sincerely an introvert, right? And what was the actual catalyst? Like, what was the thing that says, you know what? Even though I'm introverted, because you having this brand makes you really visible, right?
Mhm.
So what was the spark? What was the catalyst that pushed you to say, okay, this is what I want to start this brand?
So I've always had a decent way with words, and I would actually write things, write down little sayings, and I always joke that I would put them on a T-shirt. But life happened, school happened, so like a decade later, I had these notes of sayings, and I had made no progress. So I really decided during the pandemic to, hey, I actually want to start a business. I want to sell T-shirts. But I also this is when I also realized that I was really very much an introvert. Because I would even to my prior my late 30s, I thought that something was wrong with me, because I was fine. I still am fine by myself. Like I can hang out
Mhm.
with folks, but you know, hour and a half, I gotta go.
Yeah,
I'm not the most outgoing person, although I can be, but it can be draining. So I really wanted to kind of marry that with whatever, so the t-shirt brand that I came out with, and I started looking up, trying to see introverted apparel t-shirts, and it was all the same. Like, it was just, you're sarcastic,
mhm,
you don't talk to nobody,
right.
just your stereotypical introverted designs, and that bothered me. So I just
Yeah,
made it my mission to really I started just making designs based off my life and kind of how I feel, and it took off from there, because once I started wearing the shirts and posting content, people related to it. And to
yeah,
this day, I still get people that are like, "Hey, I need this shirt. This is so me." Um, and it's a good feeling, because it definitely lets me know that there are other people out there who kind of feel the same way that I feel.
yeah.
Um, but also, we have this large community of introverted folks who actually, if you see the comments in the chat, that we go back and forth. So we actually do, talk and socialize just amongst
Mhm,
ourselves,
mhm.
and then we go our separate ways.
Yeah. And I know for me, if I'm around people that I feel really comfortable with, like if I know you, then I tend to be more outgoing, right? If you put me in a situation where, I have social anxiety. So if you put me in a situation where I don't know anybody, yeah, networking out of there, because I don't, I just can't. I can't. Like, my palms get sweaty and all of that, and so, but I do tend to have a little bit more for folk that I know and that I'm really comfortable around. Have you found that to be true for yourself?
Most definitely. I There's always, one or two folks that you can just kind of vibe with, and it doesn't feel like it's draining to talk to them. You talk to them for hours about anything.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
think for the majority of us, we do have, those one or two people. But yeah, networking, I've become better at it. It's not a favorite, but I can do it.
mhm, mhm.
But then after that, I just have to go recharge for like 1 or 2 months, and then I'll be fine.
1 or 2 months.
Yes, business months, not regular months.
Oh,
Business months.
okay, business months, not regular months. Thank you
Yeah, those are
for that
longer.
distinction.
Yes.
So Pastor Joyce says, I've been bullied from the top down, the worst in church settings from being an introvert, and the subsequent damages have left a lasting, nasty taste in my spiritual journey. She wants to know if you have any experience of healing.
So not yes and no. So from I can't really speak to the church angle, but I can definitely speak to people um, making you feel like something's wrong with you, or like you've done something wrong, because like you're quiet or you're just kind of off to the side doing your own thing. Um, I've personally, where I am now, I've gotten to the point where I don't care. In just that, it's I curse a lot, so it's early, so I don't want to curse too, curse too early.
Yeah, go ahead. Go, listen.
But it's like, at a certain point, you have to live your own life and you have to be who you are. And I think
Yeah.
at the core of who I am, at the core of everything that I try to do, authenticity matters, and you have to be authentically you. And that's one thing that I do stress. And it's not for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not for I'm not for everybody. But you have to be true to yourself. If you're a type person that can just chill in the corner with a book, listen to some R&B and rock out, that's nothing wrong with that. If
Mhm.
you can go out and hang out for an hour or so, but still have to go home and recharge, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I've actually where I am now also is that I just take it back to extroverts and ask them like, what's wrong with them? Like, why can't y'all shut up? They don't like that. And I'm like, well, I don't like when y'all tell me to talk more. Like, it doesn't feel good. So it's like, why do you talk so damn much? Like, why do you have to say all the words? Like, leave some for the rest of us. Like, they don't like it. Doesn't feel good. It doesn't.
Well, I'm
So
grateful to
that's how you
have.
handle it. That's how you handle it. Turn it
Yeah, I
around.
mean,
Turn it around on them.
I'm grateful to have introverts in my life that are okay with me not, because I'm usually very quiet. There are times I'm just like, let's talk a lot, but most of the times I'm just quiet, and so I'm grateful for folk who are extroverts in my life who kind of get me, right? Who get me. So I appreciate that. So I mean, that's just some of the challenges, right, of being an introvert in a society that often rewards the loudest voice in the room, right? And our society prizes extroversion. And so, can you name some other challenges that you face as an introvert in the world, and how have you learned to navigate it?
So I would say the biggest challenge to date is starting and running a business as an introvert. Like
Yeah.
that is definitely hard. Because you're right. This world is definitely geared to more extroverted qualities, and I also think that a lot of the qualities that successful people have in business and in life, people assume that they're extroverted qualities, and that's not always the case.
Hmm.
You can be successful and not be an extrovert. It, you know, so it was hard at first because I thought that, hey, I have to change who I am, and that's not the case. It's also one thing that I do struggle with from the day to day is just the realization that I need as many eyes on my business as possible, which I don't like personally. Like, I kind of just want to be off in the cut. But there, but but I've learned, like, there are ways to market yourself authentically as an introvert. I just tell my story. I'm not ever going to be the loudest person in the room. I'm never going to be the most boisterous person in the room, but I can tell you my story. I can I
Hmm.
can I can tell you a story with humor.
Hmm.
I can be myself on camera and say something witty. So just finding ways to tell my story authentically is something that's helped me kind of meet those challenges. Also, finding and working with other introverted entrepreneurs and content creators who've done the work and who are kind of meeting success. I'm able to learn from them and work with
Hmm.
them, and that also inspires me to keep going because they're in a way they're paving the road for me. So it's still things that I fight with internally in the business world, but I'm still learning that there are definitely ways to overcome that, and I look forward to finally getting to the other side. It's harder for an introvert sometimes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. If you just joined us, y'all, we are hanging out with Jay Coleman, who is the founder of Sincerely and Introvert. And we are having a good time. If you have a question or a comment, please feel free to post that in the chat. And I will make sure that Jay has an opportunity to respond to them before we end our time together today. So you have an ebook, which I just discovered yesterday. And so I haven't had a chance to read it, but I was able to kind of pull some points out of this ebook. And so one of the things that you write in your book is and we talked about the phone thing, right? When I say I'll call you later, I mean later in life, not today. That really made me laugh because one, because it's real, right? That's real life for me, and so many of us who are introverts, but we kind of make our own rules for connection, right? We make our own rules for connection that helps us to be able to be comfortable, right? And so, what prompted you or inspired you to capture those kinds of honest truths in writing? And how have people responded to seeing their quiet thoughts on the page?
So first off, I'm glad that you like the ebook. I definitely appreciate that. So the book is called Introvert Confessions: Listen and We Don't Judge, and that was inspired by a content series that I'm still doing on social called Introvert Confessions, where I basically pull back the lens or pull back the curtain on some of introverts' most innermost thoughts. And it came from my real life. I just started writing down things that are true for me and turned out to be true for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's 50% confessional, 50% educational, because at the same time I do want people to understand that, okay, you're asking kind of what's on our mind. Well, these are some of the things that are on our minds. And so I will say the most common form of feedback I get is, "Why are you in my head?" And I just say, "Hey, I'm just telling my story." But I realized that that story is a story for a lot of people. So I just decided after I don't know how many of these I've done. I must have done at least 40 of these. But I decided to kind of put them in a collection or an ebook. And this, what you have is volume one. I'm still working on volume two and three. Not sure how many I'll have, but I'm definitely making it a series. So if you for the folks out there, if you want to read it, there's a link on my Facebook and Instagram page. Go out and get it. It's free. It's called Introvert Confessions. We listen and we don't judge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We're gonna talk a little bit more about your book as we go on, as we go forward through our time together today. But how do you see? Because I've taken a look at your designs, and I'm going to get a shirt. Just haven't had a chance to purchase it yet. But I love them. I do really love them, and I think that they, kind of flip the script. Like, you're speaking without actually having to talk, right? And you are with those designs, with your shirts, you're letting people know, like, yeah, we're quiet, but we're not always withdrawn, right? There's some things that are important to us that we do want to talk about. So how do you see your work reshaping how people view introverts?
That's awesome question. I I think that people see that there's definitely more than one way to communicate to the world who you are. And I think that people are starting to see that introverts aren't what the world, I guess, has kind of made them out to be. We can be bold in our own way. We can be forward in our own. We can be direct and honest in our own way, and it doesn't have to be loud. Our sense of fashion can be loud, but that doesn't mean that we have to be. and I wanted to make a brand that that represents introverted thought and says everything that we're thinking, so that we don't have to. And I'm seeing both from introverts and non-introverts that, like I said before, there are just different ways to show the world who you are and what you're
Mhm.
about. And I think for me, that's one of the biggest takeaways and one of the biggest things that I'm grateful for with this brand.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. Hey there, Tony. Hey, brother. I see you. Thank you for joining us. Once again, y'all, do me a favor and share this out today. So we talked about, of course, business, right? Entrepreneurship, which kind of really looks like, if you want to put it like this, an extrovert's playground, right? We mentioned networking, networking, pitching, always being on. And so for introverts, that could really, really be exhausting, right? And
Mhm.
so how have you learned to kind of navigate those demands while protecting your energy?
It's definitely a balance. I mean, I definitely do things at my own pace, but that involves a lot of planning so that I'm able to do things at my own pace. But I also realize that there are a lot of places where I just have to grow as a person, as a business person, as an introvert. I can't just stay silent in the corner all the time. No one's going to see me or see my brand. So there is that part of coming out of my shell in a sense, but I'm learning how to, like I said before, do that at my own pace, do that while managing my energy, because that's really the key for us. Is that our energy, we draw our energy really from being by ourselves or with one person at a time.
Mhm.
Um, Social activities can and do drain us, but I'm learning how to, I guess, build up my endurance for social
Yeah,
activities.
yeah,
Which again, it's just it's part of the job. So it's just something that I have to do. Like there were things that as a business person I have to do. As regular Jay, it's not my cup of tea, but that's fine. So really just finding that balance between being just a chill, introverted Jay and being Jay the businessman.
mhm.
That I think that that's definitely it's going to be key, and has been key for me.
Yeah. Thank you so
And
much
and
for
I
sharing. Yeah,
and I'm fortunate again, like I said, that I have a lot of role introverted role models in business to kind of show me how it's done.
yeah. As a matter of fact, while I was looking through your social media, and I didn't realize that there's such a big introvert community, right? And I was like,
Th-
oh, I got to get tapped into this.
there really is, but again, we don't really like broadcast it because that's just not who we are. So, but yeah,
We're
there's just
introverts.
that. Yeah. It's like if you know, you know. But I'm happy and grateful for the community that's being built. At least with my brand and pages,
Mhm.
and you just see like they're just people from all walks of life, and doing everything. Like I've met teachers and stockbrokers and podcast hosts and
Mhm.
um, athletes, and we're we're in every industry, every all walks of life. But people for some reason think that certain areas are just like only populated with extroverts. Like that's just not it's just not the case. Um, we can function in regular society,
Yeah,
quite well. We
yeah,
just got to go home and recharge. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's it. We can actually talk for hours on end. You have to ask the right question to find the right topic. And like my friends know, you bring up basketball or buffalo wings, that's an 8 hour conversation. Okay, but but you ask me about the weather, and I'm just gonna leave.
yeah. That's small. And so for me, a conversation and small talk are two different things. And it's like nails on a chalkboard trying to get through small talk conversation. Like I can't. I just, you know, it's a challenge for me, and I have to, you know, and I do things like pinch my hand or play with my little beat. I do stuff to kind of try to keep me as engaged as possible because I can't do small talk. Let's go deep. Like I can't do
Yes.
surface things.
Yeah, and you know, I've become a little better at it just for business purposes. But I agree. Like I'm not gonna. I can't do too much small talk. It's just let's have an actual conversation.
Yeah.
I'll even throw out the first question. I'll try to meet you halfway, but it got work because again, you got to be fair. You can't expect everyone to just hold up, the conversation. So I'll throw a question out there, try to do my part. But if
Mhm.
it come back to, going to be 80 degrees tomorrow, oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I see you, my sibling, Charles, Pastor Dr. Charles L.A. Watterson. Hey, sibling, and a fellow introvert. Thank you for being here. I love you so much. And so, so now we're kind of talking about business, and we have the added layer. Again, it's National Black Business Month, as well as also National Wellness Month. But we have the added layer of being Black entrepreneurs, right? And so, as Black entrepreneurs, we face, of course, unique challenges. We face access to capital, visibility, often having to prove ourselves twice over. And so, can you share with us what your journey has been like building Sincerely Introvert as a Black entrepreneur? And what lessons have you learned along the way?
It's definitely been interesting to say to say the least. Um, like I will say, introverts are, literally anyone can be an introvert, black, white, um, what have you.
Mhm.
But there's definitely, I'm definitely very much aware, excuse me, that I am a black introvert in the space. And growing up as not just introvert, but an introverted black man has come with some challenges. And that is something that over the past year I've been sharing more of, and I've been seeing that that there is definitely like a few chapters in that introvert story that I need to and want to reserve for us because it's a different experience.
Yeah.
It just is. We're kind of in this space where people assume that black people are naturally louder than everyone else, but then when you're
Mhm.
quiet, that's wrong too. And I was like, what do you want? Like, do you want me to yell at you and say everything at a 10 volume? Because that's not going to happen. One of the first things that I wanted to make a point of was seeking out and working with as many black entrepreneurs as I can.
Mhm.
I think just like the best way to support a black business is to support a black business. So
Mhm.
that's definitely something that I've been trying to do in my journey, and whether it's my coaches, people that do my website, my designs, I definitely try to seek out other black entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
and it's not something that I necessarily broadcast, but it's just something that is important to me.
Yeah.
Because I want to succeed, but I also want my folks to succeed. I especially try to work with black women because my customer base, my support group is probably not primarily, but heavily black women, and I definitely want to give back like whenever and wherever I can. And that's just something that's definitely important to me. But being on this journey as an introvert, as a black man, black person, it definitely has its challenges, but I try to work through that by definitely working with other Black folks. They're just
Right,
to me that is one of the best ways to kind of work through it because no one knows us like us. So
right, right. If you're just joining us, of course, we are in conversation with Jay Coleman, who is the founder of Sincerely an Introvert. And I'm going to take a little break right now to give Jay a chance to stop talking for a minute. And we'll be right back with some more conversation with Jay. Thank you again, all of you, for joining us. I want to invite you to connect, follow, like, and subscribe. Again, if you've been following me on Cara Solutions LLC, thank you so much. Please continue to do that. Please share out Cara Solutions LLC stuff. But I am building up the Inspire with Sue W platform. And so I ask that you follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. Also, if you want to follow me personally, you can just look for Sue A. Webley everywhere. And I invite you also to visit our website at www.getinspired.live. There you can watch all of our previous episodes, find out a little bit more about the show, and also subscribe to our newsletter because there's wonderful things happening and we don't want you to miss anything. Also, are you or someone you know on a mission to create change while inspiring others to do the same? Well, we want to hear from you. I want to hang out with you on a Saturday morning on Inspire. So do us a favor, again, head over to the website at www.getinspired.live. You can book your appearance right on our website. Hit the tab, be our guest, and fill out that form, and a member of our team will get back to you. Let me go back to this because it is National Black Business Month. So, of course, I got to big up Cara. So, Cara Solutions, helping you navigate the digital space with confidence. We are a full-service digital agency specializing in helping our clients achieve their goals through consultation and training, content and social media management, graphic web design, and live stream production. If you are interested in any of those things, I invite you to schedule a consultation by visiting our website at www.cara-solutions.com, or you can email us at info@cara-solutions.com. And I'm going to do this every single Saturday until our sibling in community gets a kidney. Yanni needs a kidney. So whether you know her just Yanni, whether you know as Pastor Yanni, Reverend Yanni, the Peace Pastor, however you know Yanni, please do us a favor and help us try to get her a kidney. So she's in search of potential donors who are fairly healthy, who have the blood types A or O, and the courage to commit to surgery and help save her life. And she'd love to share the safety measures with you. Alternatively, if you know of her organization, if you know of a resource that her and her family can tap into, please send it to us so we can get it to her. If you want to contact her and her family directly, you can do so at peacepeopleinc@gmail.com. That's peacepeopleinc@gmail.com, or you can head over to EmeryLivingDonor.org, fill out the survey, and enter her name, Ayana Davis. I believe that we can, working together, that we can help Yanni get her kidney. We are going to get back into some more conversation with Jay Coleman. Welcome back, Jay. Thank you for joining us again on Inspire. It's been such a joy having this conversation with you and our guests who are in the audience. They're loving you as well. So thank you all for sharing the love. Again, if you have a question or a comment, please don't hesitate to post it in the chat. So I want to go back to your book a little bit. In your book, you also wrote, I generally want the best for you. I just want you to do all of that quietly and far away from me. What that says to me, Jay, is that that's about love with boundaries, right?
That
I
is.
do want what's best for you. I want to see you succeed. You know, I am happy, you know, that like when you are elevating and stuff like that. You know, but that's love with boundaries. And so how do you think introverts can embrace this kind of harmony in relationships, supporting people fully while also honoring their own need for space?
Well, I always like that particular one. That's one of my favorites because it's definitely one of the truer statements in my book. But yeah, everyone needs to have boundaries. I think, but particularly with introverts, we need to have boundaries that protect and preserve our energy. And I don't think a lot of people, non-introverts, understand that. It really is about energy. We can love you to the moon, but there comes a point where we just gotta go and recharge. So like I said before, like I said in the book, I, I want you to achieve all your dreams, all your aspirations. I am rooting for you on the inside. I love you from a distance when I have to. But there's a zone that is just for me, and when I need to be in that zone, that's it. It doesn't mean I love you any less. Doesn't mean I've stopped rooting for you. I just need to have this space and this sort of you know cone of solitude for myself. And I don't think a lot of people still really appreciate that. I think like if they feel that if you kind of go away or go recharge, it means that you're tired of them like as a person, and that's not always the case. We just need to go recharge. Doesn't change how I feel about you or what I want for you in this world. I just need to go get this battery back back in the green. And it can be hard for introverts, particularly because we don't want to disappoint people or we don't want to hurt people's feelings or make them feel like we don't like them or like people. So sometimes we, stay in the situation or deal with someone longer than we should. And ultimately we get drained and it does come out somehow. So we really need to have boundaries, but we also need to allow ourselves to establish and have those boundaries so that it really starts with being um, honest with ourselves, so to speak, and saying, hey, I need to have this boundary. Has nothing to do with how I feel about you. I just need some quiet time, some alone time. But yes, I'm definitely rooting for you in life.
Yeah, and I agree. It's because what comes up for me is that people expect us to show up or support them in a particular way. And folks really don't understand, like, yes, I genuinely listen, I am genuinely happy for like all of it. It's in here. I am just bubbling over with excitement for what's going on in your life. It's just not coming out the way that that you would, I guess, anticipate or you would want it to. But it doesn't mean that I'm not joyous, right? It doesn't mean that I'm not joyous. And so thank you for bringing that up. And I hope those of you who are extroverts on this line that you're really learning something about introverts today. Because yeah, we love you, but we now is gonna be out loud about it.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, and what I will say, and this is something that I've had to learn how to do is that we also need to be able to articulate that, and that part also can be very hard because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings. Like it's hard telling somebody that you need time alone, particularly somebody that you care about or genuinely like. Like it's hard because depending on the person, all they hear is "go away." I don't want you here. I don't like you. So but you have to be able to kind of have that conversation and be able to explain how you feel, and it's something that I still work hard with, that I still struggle with, but I find that once I'm able to explain exactly how I'm feeling and why I'm feeling that way, and that it has nothing to do with the other person, I find that the other person actually understands and respects those boundaries, and sometimes they actually are proactive in maintaining that boundary. Like they'll say, "Hey, Jay looks like he's tired. Let's wrap this up," or they'll answer a question for me or shut down a question for me because they know that it's annoying or draining. So once you're able to kind of explain how you feel, I think things become a lot easier. But it's I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely hard getting to that point because you're always fighting with not wanting to upset somebody or let somebody down or hurt someone's feelings, and that's it's tough. It's tough trying to balance that.
Thank you for sharing. We have a question on the floor from Bishop Bonnie. She says, if a person is an introvert and they have a business, and you as a person would like to use their business and you call, text, and email and they don't respond, what do you have to say about that? That's my struggle.
So if the person in business doesn't respond, is that the
Yes.
question? Okay.
Yes, I believe that. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, if you don't respond, you must not want money. Like I don't mean to be blunt about it. Like I have an email, I have my socials, I have text line. Sometimes I don't always I don't always feel like responding to people, but I do because that comes with the business. Like that's just part of the job. Like they're not. It's weird because this business is definitely a reflection of me and how I am in my story, but there does have to kind of be that line between personal and business. So if a potential customer or client or anyone is trying to contact your business and you're just not responding, I don't think that's good business. Like you can be an introvert and take care of business. I would suggest trying to figure out what is keeping you from responding in any way. Phone call, text, email, smoke signal, whatever. Like there has to be some way that you can get back to somebody. If you're trying to grow your business. I hope that answers your question.
I believe, yes, she says she appreciates the answer. Thank you for asking that question, Bishop Bonnie. So let's talk about your younger self, Jay. Looking back over your journey so far, as an introvert who is building, who's connecting, if you can sit down with your younger self before you fully embraced your introversion, what's one piece of advice that you'd give them?
I don't know if it's ironic or not, but I would tell my younger self to speak up in the sense that you need to be able and willing to articulate how you're feeling. Looking back, I think a lot of situations probably could have been um, either alleviated or eliminated by me just saying, "Hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is where I am. This is why every time you try to find me, I'm in the corner with a book. This is why I don't feel like talking to people. This is why I prefer to just kind of be on my own." I would have told my younger self, just try to say that. Um, and again, knowing that it's hard for uh, a kid or adolescent, a young adult to really articulate that fully. But I would say just try, write it down in a journal. Journaling is great. I do it, and then go from there. But let people know how you're feeling. Don't just keep everything to yourself. I think they may not like it or agree, but at least they would know where you're coming from. They would know that it's not an issue with them all the time. Sometimes it is. But they will definitely understand that it's not you being rude, it's not you being antisocial, or all the other stereotypes that people assign to people who are introverted. It's just who you are. So that's definitely what I would tell my younger self. Just speak up and tell folks how you're feeling the best way you can. And it's not always going to be um, nice or pretty. Sometimes you just don't like a person, and that's okay. Sometimes you just don't want to be around a person because you don't being around this person doesn't make you feel good, and you may not be able to express or describe how like what that feeling is, but it's not good, and it's not something that you want to expose yourself to if you don't have to. So just trying to find those words to say how you feel.
Thank you for sharing that. And I would say to the people who are surrounding, who are in community with introverts, that, you know, if you are willing to hear, right, is what we're saying, then I think we feel a little more safer try to articulate some things, right? I think from my experience anyway, there's been times where I try to articulate because, you know, even children may not be able to articulate, but even some adults can't, right? And so
Yeah, I know.
there been times when I try to articulate, you know, who I am as a person, as an introvert, what works for me, what doesn't, what triggers my anxiety, what doesn't. And I found sometimes that me trying to articulate it in the space is not safe for me to do it just makes me feel worse about who I am. So I would charge the community to try to create, you know, more safer, bolder spaces for those of us who are introverts to feel safe, to feel comfortable, to be able to say, this is what it is. This is what's, you know, this is who I am, and not feel like they're defective.
Yeah. If I could add to that,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would space definitely, but space without expectation. I think
Mhm.
for me, for a lot of introverts, like the expectation of us being social can kind of weigh us down, because it just feels like an obligation. And yes, there are definitely times where being social is an obligation, but in general, when you feel like we're obligated to be social or obligated to have a conversation, it doesn't feel authentic. Like we want to talk to you or deal with you because we want to. So creating that space without any sort of expectation, I think helps because we don't feel like we have to be on. You don't feel like we have to perform. Um, so my extroverted friends who have created a space, but just say, hey, you want to talk? I'm here. If not, cool. Like that goes a long way. Just kind of having that open door helps. Because I can just you know tell you something random because I have a very random mind. So like I wouldn't be able to know if I hit you with a off the wall question, you're gonna be all right. So I would say space without expectation is key.
Yeah, thank you so much. I also, you know, appreciate while you were talking, it made me think about my partner because she's you know, she will say to me, is your social battery empty? Are you do we need to step? And so I appreciate that so much because um it's, you know, it's a thing. Like, yeah, the social battery will just be drained, and you can tell because, you know, I'm already quiet, but then I could become completely disengaged, and you can tell. And so I appreciate people in our life that can say, "Hey, is this what's going on right now?" That can see it and recognize it and speak to it, and then offer you that safe place to land with it. Right. So thank you so much for all of what you have shared with us, Jay. We like to end with joy. So, what is bringing you most joy right now in your life?
Ooh, what is bringing me joy? I would think on a personal level, getting back into my hobbies. I've been like the last few months. I collect basketball cards. That's always been my thing. So I've been able to find space and time to actually go through what I have, and it's kind of like taking a walk into my childhood and young adulthood. So that's brought me a lot of joy over the last few months, which has helped fuel my drive in business because I feel like now I'm more balanced. Like it's just not all about the business. It's not all about the brand. So having just an outlet to not worry about selling these shirts for an hour or not having to worry about scheduling content for an hour. I can just do something that just so something that I love doing when I was a kid. That's definitely been it's definitely brought me a lot of joy, and I'm definitely um happier now that I've kind of again just set that time out. Each day just kind of going through what I have, remembering kind of where I was when I got this card, or how much this card is worth, or like the story behind this card or this particular player, and why I have it. Just so many different ways that it can go. But for that little bit of time, nothing else matters. Like I'm gonna worry about anything else. So that's definitely been one of the things that has brought me a lot of joy these last few months.
Thank you so much for sharing. Oh, I got it. Dave says, yeah, for me, because I do such a front-facing job, my social battery gets low often. Thanks for this affirmative space. Thank you for helping me create this affirmative space, Jay.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Social batteries they're a real thing. They really are. And it's not just, they're not exclusive to introverts. Like extroverts have them. They just recharge differently. And that's okay. But it's just you have to be aware of how and where you get your energy, because that's what drives us. You can't do anything without energy. So I try to help folks understand that and be okay with, hey, I need to go sit in my room for an hour, give me a glass of water and listen to some R&B. Like me personally, there's nothing that some boys and men can't fix, so.
Yeah. Thank you for spending time and hanging out with us. Where can the people find you, Jay?
So first off, my website, sincerelyintrovert.com. You can also find me on Instagram at sincerelyintrovert. Same thing with Facebook at sincerelyintrovert, and on TikTok as well, sincerelyintrovert. All the same. That's where I'll be hanging out, acting a fool online. That's what I do, and I make shirts. So definitely buy a shirt. Tell a friend and tell a friend.
Definitely. I put that link for Jay's website in the chat. Please go and support this Black business. Support Jay. Get yourself if you're an introvert, get yourself a shirt. If you know introverts, get them a shirt. Okay.
Exactly. We don't discriminate. We don't discriminate. I accept business from everybody. So don't feel bad. You ain't gotta be introverted to buy. I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Well, Jay, thank you for reminding us all that introversion is not a weakness, it's really a strength, and it really can be our superpower, right? And so those of you who have watched today, who will catch this in the replay, if you've been inspired by this conversation, again, I want to invite you to support Sincerely an Introvert, support Black-owned businesses, and most importantly, embrace your authentic self. And so until we meet again next week, I want you to stay lifted. I want you to stay motivated. But most of all, I want you to stay inspired. See you next week. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.